part 3 of the biochem notes. Now, I believe there is one more part after this, which is a separate set about enzymes. Those cards you made for this week to start you off on your biochem cards. So make sure you continue those cards for the big test coming up. Maybe end of next week. Don't remember offhand. Okay, so we're on part 3, dehydration synthesis. Remember what dehydration means. When you're dehydrated, you lose water. So water is something that's taken out of the molecules, okay? And a dipeptide, remember in our notes we were talking about proteins. And a peptide bond is what holds together two amino acids to start making that chain of proteins. And so you're writing the word equation for the synthesis of a dipeptide, two amino acids coming together to be bonded with a peptide bond and kicking water out, okay? Dehydration. So you've got two amino acids. Remember they had those R groups that made them unique. And then they're going to make the dipeptide. Di means two, remember. And whenever we talk about peptides or peptide bonds, we're talking about proteins and water. Okay? So two amino acids form a dipeptide and water. All right. Hydrolysis of a dipeptide. So you're eating a protein. This is digestion. All right? This is going to be the opposite effect. So you're going to break a protein down into its amino acids. This is the opposite of the last slide. So when you eat proteins, you need to digest them so that your body can use the amino acids to synthesize new proteins that your body needs. Okay? So remember, there's the kind of proteins that you can get from that you can make, your body makes when it eats food, and then there's proteins that or amino acids, I should say, that you can't make that have to come from outside of your body. Okay? So this is breaking the ones down that you ate to make ones that you need to make in your body. Okay? So you've got the dipeptide, two, polypeptide would be many, right? Connected together. This is just two. And water. So that's why you got to drink when you eat. If you don't drink when you eat, you'll get dehydrated because it's using water to break your food down. So amino acid and amino acid. So you use water to break your food down. And a survival piece of knowledge is you never eat food if you don't have water. You're in a survival situation and you've got a whole room full of food but no water, don't eat the food until you get some water. So how do proteins differ? We kind of discussed this in the last set of notes. We know that proteins differ because they're made up of different unique links that make it unique. And you could link those amino acids in many different ways. So proteins differ in the number of amino acids they contain and the types or sequence in which they occur. So as a result, there is almost an endless possibility of this recombination for different proteins.
Testing coordinator, testing for HP to log into an HP. It's the student, it is the school number.
Trillions of different proteins can be made.
The password is FLCBT 1681.
So, a polypeptide of only 4 amino acids
HP login, it's the school number 1681. FLCBT
has 160,000 possibilities.
FLCBT 1681.
20 times 20 times 20 times 20, that's 20 to the 4th power is 160,000. That's pretty amazing. I mean, you could just look at this chain and see how many different ways you can rearrange those. You'd be here till the cows came home. That means a long time. All right, so how does a protein's shape determine its job? All right, so the shape of a molecule determines how it interacts with cells and other molecules. And now we're going to start talking a little bit about enzymes. So the three-dimensional shape, remember, all the stuff we see on the screen is all, two-dimensional, flat. But you have to realize we live in a three-dimensional world, and all of these things are generally sticking out in all directions, okay? like if you flip a chair over or something like that, you know, it's got legs that come out different ways, and it's got a back that comes. They're all just different. They're three-dimensional. They've got length, width, height. So, you know, virtually trying to find this round spherical shape. So it's also determined by the sequence of amino acids. Depending upon how those amino acids connect to each other, it's going to make a different shaped protein. It's going to be all twisted up. Each amino acid has a different R group, remember, which gives it different chemical properties. In a protein chain, the R group sticks out, just like I said, the legs of a chair, okay? And so it's like this. It's not flat, okay? The R groups will be sticking out in different directions. Bending, twisting, curling, folding into a unique shape. And cells make countless proteins, each with a specific function. Like a lock and a key. If they don't fit, then they don't go together. This one is going to make a hormone, which is a protein that only fits to the target cell. It will not fit to a non-target cell. So it's all about shape. And of course, this is simplified so that you can visualize it. Then what are the levels of protein structure? So you've got a primary structure. Primary means first, okay? Starting, right? So the linear sequence of amino acids, that's the first thing that comes out of the cell, not out of the cell, but out of the production of a protein in a cell. You've got this linear sequence of amino acids, all in a certain order, okay? Remember, there's glycine, cysteine, leucine, all the INEs are amino acids. You're putting them together in a chain. Then after that, you've got this secondary structure. So it includes coils and folds that occur to the interaction of neighboring amino acids in the chain. So interaction of neighboring amino acids. So you've got this amino acid and this amino acid that come together, and then another one comes in, and the one over here is like, oh, I'm going to go this way now because this one's over here. And so you've got these secondary structures resulting. You've got helixes or twists, and you've got sheets that are kind of folded like this. And it all depends on the interaction. See, these are, what do you think those bonds are called? Right, hydrogen bond, okay? Hydrogen bonds. The solid lines in models are covalent and the hydrogen are dotted. And you know that they occur between hydrogen and oxygen in water, so why can't they occur in other molecules as well, right? And that's what's twisting these up. It's kind of amazing. And then you've got a tertiary structure. So this is the interaction between the different areas of the protein from the overall 3D shape. So now that they're starting to twist and form, then the whole molecule starts to bend and go different ways. And then that is the ultimate shape of a protein. That is the ultimate shape of protein. Due to hydrogen bonding, ionic bonds, other bonds called disulfide bonds, and the way that hydrophobic and hydrophilic portions of the molecule are interacting with the fluid around them, they're going to take different orientations in their environment. Okay, and this is, if you see something like this in the future, that is a protein. That's a protein, and all the amino acids are all folded up, and then it does its job. Believe it or not, it does its job that way. Now you've got a quaternary structure. A quarter is a fourth, right? So 4, okay? Fourth structure. Interaction of different polypeptide chains within the protein. So for an example, the way the different polypeptides arrange can determine active sites in enzymes. So hemoglobin is a globular protein, like a glob, and it's very important in your blood for carrying oxygen around your body, okay? So iron is there, and that's what the oxygen binds to in the blood cell. And the shape makes it possible. So you're going to test yourself here. got another page here. All right, and now we're going to talk about the final macromolecule, nucleic acids. So we did carbohydrates, we did lipids, we did proteins, and now we're doing nucleic acids, the 4 macromolecules of biochemistry. Okay, so nucleic acids are organic molecules that contain elements carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, honk, right? Honk. And phosphorus. Phosphorus is the extra one that occurs in this molecule, this macromolecule. The monomer that makes up nucleic acids is known as a nucleotide. So this is a nucleotide. And then when you put them together, you get a chain called a nucleic acid. Made out of 3 parts. The phosphate part, the deoxyribose sugar, ooh, that should have sounded familiar, DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, and a base. And so they're going to form a chain, just like every other molecule that we've seen. When you've got monomers and polymers, okay, monomer, polymer. Nucleic acids are important because they contain all of your genetic or hereditary information. All the characteristics that make you you, your blueprint that make you different from every other human being and every other creature on the planet, which is very miraculous in my opinion. I mean, we have over almost 8 billion people on the planet and no 2 people are alike. Even twins have different fingerprints, and even identical twins are mildly different. Okay, otherwise parents would never be able to tell them apart. So nucleic acids control the cell. They tell the cell what proteins to make. They tell the cells its function, and they're just it's the boss. It's the blueprints. It's the IKEA box that you get home, and it's in 100 different pieces. And without the directions, you'd probably be lost. Okay, it's the directions for putting together life. DNA and RNA. DNA is deoxyribonucleic acid. Deoxy meaning the oxygen is gone, it's deoxygenated, and then ribonucleic acid means that there's some oxygen. You know, it's a difference between that part. Okay, and then the bases are different too. You've got adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. We'll talk more about those. And then adenine, cytosine, and guanine are the same in RNA, but the thymine is missing from RNA. Instead, you've got something called uracil. And those are the bases. We're going to talk about those more in a minute. Yeah, and deoxyribose and ribose are sugars. OSE, O-S-E, sugar, glucose, sucrose, fructose, deoxyribose, sugar. So let's review, okay? Carbohydrate, lipid, or protein. Which one is it? It is a protein, okay? These are amino acids, and this is dehydration synthesis with a polypeptide bond, okay? Synthesis or hydrolysis, I just said it was synthesis because you're putting 2 smaller pieces together to make a larger piece. And the molecules would be, again, amino acid, dipeptide. All right, so I kind of gave that one away to you. All right, carbohydrate, lipid, or protein. Immediately in your mind, you see that shape, that almost stop sign shape. Remember, stop sign's 8 sides, this is 6 sides, but yeah, you know that it's glucose, and so therefore, well, this is glucose, that's 2 glucoses connected, that's maltose, right? That's a carbohydrate, right? Is it synthesis or hydrolysis? Need water to digest. And the water becomes back. This is digestion, so this is hydrolysis. Can you name the molecules? I kind of gave them away before, yes, but each one of these is a glucose, right? And 2 glucoses together is an M sugar, maltose. All right, carbohydrate, lipid, or protein. You've got these tails and this unit that makes the head, so to the G. This is a lipid, because those are fatty acid tails, okay? And is it synthesis or hydrolysis? Obviously synthesis, because dehydration is synthesis, water's getting kicked out and putting these together, making bonds where there were not bonds before, okay? 3 waters, here, here, and here. That's where the waters come from. And the molecules, these are the fatty acid tails, this is glycerol. So what are the 4 classes of organic macromolecules we learned? 4 classes. Carbohydrates, lipids, proteins, nucleic acids. Why are they all considered organic? Carbon and hydrogen, right? And oxygen and hydrogen, and nitrogen. John, honk, 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 honk. Why should you never eliminate a food group from your diet? That's kind of obvious, but so many people ignore it, right? Or they think that they're eating a good food group like McDonald's, but then they can leave McDonald's out and the ants won't even eat it. Yeah, anyway, because all of the different food groups contain the different necessary nutrients for your body. That's why you need to eat your vegetables, your fruits, your proteins, and your carbohydrates. A mix of them all, okay? So you're writing those answers down in your notes, right?